Hi, and welcome to the post-season bonus episode of the Cabinet Con. Just a little something extra from Small Town Justice before we dive into Season 2. I'm your host, Kyle O'Donnell. Today is Friday the 13th of May 2021. Our next episode will start a whole new season for Small Town Justice, but if you've been following along, you'll know that episode follows the crime spree and eventual incarceration of Michael Mackay. Stay tuned for that to launch next week. This episode is simply called Bazaar. It is so called because Roy, the man we'll hear from today, is the manager of Car Bazaar in Pensacola, Florida. They employed Robert Stoll for about 6 months, and in that time, he robbed them blind. And not just them, he stole from customers, he took their down payments, he took items throughout the company, he even stole multiple cars that he then sold illegally elsewhere. There is no quiz, votes, or shoutouts today. Let's just get right into the interview.
Hello, it's Roy.
Hi, Roy. My name's Kyle O'Donnell. I'm actually an investigative journalist, and I'm doing a story on a man named Robert Stoll. And I just got done looking at some paperwork that provided me with a pretty egregious story. Said that he was stealing money from customers and stuff. I don't mean to interrupt your day, and I can call you back at a different time or a better number or something like that, but would you be willing to talk about that?
Sure. I mean, I'm not going to say the poor guy. He kind of knew what he was doing. He worked for us for a short while, and then we found out after he had taken money here that he didn't come back in. I think he knew he was caught.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got a call when we reported Sheriff's Department, he's got this such and such pending, that I think they only listed him for like $80,000-$90,000, but they had originally told us he had embezzled like $120,000 out of people, out of seniors and folks on fixed income.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it.
So he ended up getting, I don't know what just desserts are, but he got some time served, which is basically us. He didn't really get all of it, but they gave him time served in the county for what he did here. Then he's got 10 years in the Department of Corrections plus another 20 or 25 years probation once he gets out for them. No, 20 years with them, and then 5 years after that for us. So he's got like 25 years of probation once he gets out in 10 years.
Yeah.
The Judge Kinsey was very fair and very nice.
I heard that. The investigation that I've done just keeps going and going and going. I thought it was a very simple case when I actually stumbled onto this case from a friend of mine who happens to be one of the victims, and I normally would never have heard about it or done a case investigation on it, but yeah, it happened close to home, so to speak, and so I got more involved in it, and it turns out that he was had a business relationship with another man who has gone on to defraud people in the same type of business and other things. Have you ever heard him use the name Michael Mackay?
No, I have not.
No.
But I did hear that he had I heard that in the court hearing that he had a partner in another business.
Yeah.
And I think it's being challenged by the prosecution.
Yeah.
I think he kind of sidestepped it somehow, answering.
What did he end up getting from your customers, if you don't mind?
It's our fault. He just really bamboozled us and told us all this great stuff. So it was the owner hired him, and he, smoothed the owner, and he hired him without running a background on it.
Right.
So find out that gave him a assistant manager position, so he had a lot of authority to lock up, to open up, be here by himself, have access to people's money. So he would I think he took 2 cars that were traded in and tried to write it up to hide it like they weren't trade-in. So he stole 2 cars and sold them. Got caught by the county on one of them.
Wow.
And then he was taking people. We don't do buy here, pay here, very little of it. But he was taking just about like every other payment. They'd pay $300. He would write it in the books that they paid $100 and put $200 in his pocket, that kind of stuff.
And so obviously he was. I mean, obviously he was going to get found out, right? I mean, that's not a very solid plan, and all the customer has to do is come in the next time and say, "Hey, I thought I paid you this much." How did he explain that?
Well, no, I heard in the court. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure if you had access to court records, I thought he made mention that some kind of drugs or something. He was doing drugs, and I hear that a lot. People blame it on, oh, it was my drug dependency. That's why I did that.
Right. No. Yeah. No. I was actually talking about how did he? I mean, I'm assuming he didn't get caught on the first or second one, but I mean, eventually
Oh
that's
no, it just I'd have customers come in and say, hey, I never got. I was looking at my paperwork and I was dealing with this guy Robert, and he didn't write my car on here, and I don't actually see where I got a a trade-in value where it came off the value of my the car I bought.
right.
And I'd look it up and go, well, what are you talking about? I don't see anything. I'm looking through the whole folder. What did you trade in? And they would tell me, and I go, I don't see anything. And they say, well, I actually did. I traded in such a vehicle. And I gave him the title, which was a mistake. It's kind of like giving letting a drug addict work in the pharmacy, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
So it didn't go well. So we didn't catch it until late in the game.
Oh.
And we were still catching them. And I think when he got wind that we had to. We found out that he was defrauding our customers. We had to call the sheriff's department. There's no ifs, and or but.
Right.
So we got them called, and I think he got wind of it and decided just to stay home. And what I understood was that the frauding he did on these people, the state was not able to pursue anything because it was civil. It wasn't until they got us involved, then they could bring it into the limelight.
Okay.
That's what I understood. So they weren't going to be able. It was all going to be civil, and I think he was hiding behind that. He screwed up when he committed felonies here.
Yeah. Because up till then he would have just had like judgments against him and things.
That's right. And he had a good lawyer. I think I don't know who. I think it was his wife just kept bailing out money, and he had a good lawyer. Kept getting out, and finally, I think they said no bond.
Yeah. Do you have it? I know what the records say. I'd have to pull it up on my phone, but do you guys have an estimate of how much between the two cars and the stolen deposits?
Oh, yeah. I think it was somewhere around 12.5 or so.
Wow. And what was the period of time that like first to last when that started?
I don't think he was here that long. Maybe he was here 6 months.
Oh, okay. He got right to work, didn't he?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So we'll get compensation in about 25 years. 30 years actually.
Isn't that a shame the way that works?
Yeah, after he does his 10 years, and he's got 20 years probation to pay back these people he defrauded. Then after that, he has 5 years probation to pay us back.
Yeah.
Or 12.5, 12 something.
Well, I'm not sure if you're aware of his other victims, but one of his victims was a realtor, right? Who deals with cabinets and things like that, and the other one was a cop. The other person I'm talking about.
Didn't know that.
So the more I hear about his victims, the more I realize he really must be smooth, right? Like, what did he say in order to get an assistant manager position?
Well, I don't know what he told Yuri, but he obviously said he had the experience and he knew how to deal with people. But then he was we don't hire salesmen, but he had that salesman-y attitude. It's like, for example, I'd have a car here. I mean, we only have. My cars are nice. We pick through, if we're going to get one. So, let's say if I had a car here that we knew it had rust on the rotors because we're close to the bay and our brake rotors get surface rust on them. So
Yeah.
you have to drive a quarter of a mile to burn it off. So, customer would drive it. Instead of just telling the truth, he would make up a concocted story. He would say, oh, well, that is the gravel crunching. Actually, that is how sound coming under the wiper blades makes. What? I'll be like, man, don't tell the customer that kind of silly stuff, man. Just tell them the truth. And if the car had a history where, maybe a front bumper was bashed, oh, no, this car is perfect condition. Never been in an accident. tell them the truth and show them the pictures that we got it from auction. We're okay with that. Oh, no, I can't do that. Well, that's what we're going to do. You're going to show them the picture where there was a dent in the door, and replace the whole door. You're not going to make up these crazy stories. Customers are smart. They have, the internet. They can check it out themselves.
Yeah.
Punch in the VIN number for a car. And a lot of times it'll show you a picture of the car before, while it was at auction or something. So, can't do that. So, that was his personality, and we didn't know. I mean, personally, before I found out he was scamming us, I helped him. He gave me a story about a car. I sold him a car I had, and next thing I know, he didn't even have the title. He sold it to somebody else without a title, and still owed me money. So that one, they told me I'd have to take him to civil court, and I just said, I forget it.
Yeah.
When's that going to happen? 30 years from now?
Right. Yeah. It'll probably be on the statute of limitations at that point anyway.
That's right.
This might surprise you to find out, but when I reached out, I'm actually trying to get him in, like he's in prison, obviously, you know that. I've been trying to talk to him, and the warden, or his case handler, I should say, went and got it approved, right? And then so they asked Stoll if he wanted to talk to me. He said yes. He actually does want to tell me his side of the story. And then within probably 45 minutes of confirming that, his wife actually reached out to me and found me on Facebook and just sent me the most bizarre email. And I figured you'd be interested to know that his wife doesn't know anything about not any of it, but most of it. She, I think, wrote a letter or something to the courts, and she mentioned that in her email. She basically has been either lied to by this man or she's in on it. I don't know. I can't figure out which is which, but she just thinks that he's the victim of circumstance, that he, like he had a bad lawyer, I don't think she has any idea. You're talking about intention. Like you had to actually call him out on his lies. I don't think he either convinced her that he never lied once and he meant to do good and he never meant to get, this far deep or blah, blah, blah. I don't know what the case is, but he has convinced her of that, or she's in on it. That's the only two things. So did he ever bring his wife in or anything like that? And
No, well, I've talked to her. Well, that's not totally true. I've got an email. She actually, I think she was aware of some of it. She actually had emailed or texted the owner here. I'm the manager about that car I had sold, and she goes, "I think Robert has sold that car." Even though she knew that he owed me money on it.
Mm-hmm.
So she was aware that he, defrauded me, and she was. I think she was a little embarrassed, but that was it. We did remember. I remember hearing in court. I think the defense, was a appointed defense attorney that I think read a letter from her saying that he was a good man, and please don't take him. He supports our family and pays our bills, and I don't work, and we're going to be hurting if he goes to jail or prison or something. So I think she was aware to a degree. I don't think to the fully aware that how much he had defrauded people. I mean, I think, and I remember being told it was a lot more money.
Uh-huh.
So, but I think only what they could prove, or only the people that came forward. I think about $40,000 worth of it. People just, were so embarrassed they got defrauded or something.
Right.
They didn't want to come, or were so angry or whatever.
Yeah.
So they only got on paper $80,000 worth of the fraud.
Right.
But what made it work was mostly people, single moms or people on a fixed income.
Right. Yeah, and I've spoken to some of those. Some of them have heartbreaking stories. One lady has had to do her dishes in her bathtub because he cut her pipes.
I heard that one. Yes.
So yeah. In total, you don't think your impression of his wife? You don't think she's actually in on it, do you? You think she's just probably wishful thinking? He's a good guy or something.
No, think about it, man. When you have some people have a tendency to either, but
blinders.
enable people to stay in there and make excuses for loved one.
Right.
You know, they don't want to think the worst of their loved one. I've got friends that have a daughter that has messed up 2 or 3 times, and she's finishing up a stint in the DOC. And of course, the mom thinks, "Oh, she did mess up, but she'll do better next time when she gets out." Well, she will. She changes her environment, you know.
Yeah.
But and it's just that enabling, and the whole time I think the mom's been dumping money into the prison account so that she can have snacks, and has bought her a tablet. I didn't know you were allowed to have that in prison, you know, with internet. You know, I didn't know that.
I didn't. Yeah, that seems a little like a vacation.
It sure does. But hey, you know, and I see that, and I hear about it, and I know people in in Pensacola, it's not hard to find somebody, you know, addictions, and that it owns them, and they're going to everybody to get whatever they can to keep their addiction going, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Common in Pensacola, unfortunately. So I see it a lot, especially in employees. We hire so many. Oh my gosh, rarely do they not have some sort of an addiction that we found out. And always the mother or the brother or the sister always has a story. Oh, they were abused. You know, oh, we were poor. Oh, you know, there's always a story, man. So
Right.
that's the same thing. I bet you his wife loves him, you know, and he obviously supported his family just immorally. And I think she knew and maybe just looked the other way on some of it.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious, not only because she reached out, but because I found out that one of his LLCs was actually taken out in her name, and that.
Oh, no.
So, you know, it could still be a situation where like he talked her into it or something, but it could also potentially be involvement. So I just figured I'd ask what you thought there.
Yeah, I think she seemed like a smart lady. So deep down, if she were to be honest with herself, she might know he was doing wrong, but because she loved him, she probably just looked the other way.
Yeah.
You know, and hoped he would do better.
Right on. Well,
that's my take.
Yeah, I appreciate it, and I appreciate you taking time today to talk about it. Is there anything else I should know about the case, your involvement with it, like his involvement with Car Bazaar or anything like that?
No, I just know that I don't know if it's the judge or the prosecutor that made a statement that he was not to communicate with us once he got out at all.
Huh.
So that wasn't us asking him not to. They just didn't want him talking to us.
Right. Other than to get you money, obviously.
And we won't see that. I mean, the way they said it, it'll be like 30 years before we start getting a payment of like $80 a month or something like that.
Which in 20 years, a coffee will probably cost $80. So.
Yes, right. A cup of coffee be $80.
Yeah. Free cup of coffee every month.
Yeah, that's right. That's what we'll get. So hey, you know, that's fine. Yeah.
All right. Well, again, I do appreciate your insights on this. If you're interested in seeing where this goes, I mean, how can I get you some links?
Oh, hey, let me give you my email. It's roycarbazar@gmail.com.
All right. Roy Car Bazaar is all one word?
Yes.
Okay.
At Gmail. Yeah, I know the owner. He, since we both kind of got duped, we did. We had to kind of clean up, you know, the spills on aisle 9 that he left behind. You know, so
right.
We had to, you know, build customers' trust that got defrauded. You know, we had to give them credit, so we lost money.
Well, just talking to you, just listening to you talk about how you kind of schooled him in saying all you have to do is be honest with the customer. We're not trying to hide anything. I mean, that just when I hear that, it makes me think, well, you know, you guys are clearly trying to, sidestep the used car reputation, the dealership,
Oh yeah.
all that stuff. So, and it's hard to deal with anyway.
Oh, it already is, man. People, because we don't hire salesmen. I don't. We're a cash lot. My cars are sold at discounted prices because I deal mostly with big banks and credit unions.
Mm-hmm.
Like USAA. I can't have fraud here. I can't be trying to sell some junk. I'll lose that account in a heartbeat.
Mm-hmm.
They's a big finance company.
Right.
Navy Federal, same way. They even had wind that we were doing, so kind of, I don't know, dishonest business. They'd drop us in a heartbeat.
Right.
So I can't have that. So I was always trying to correct him. So I'm shocked. Let's say this. I wouldn't be shocked to hear the stories he may have told customers when I wasn't here or when Yuri wasn't here.
Is there, and I don't mean to solicit any of that from you, but if you have customers that have any particularly good story, can I give you my number and you can give it to them and they can feel free to reach out to me?
That's yeah, I know a couple, maybe. I don't know if, I don't even know how many. I think maybe one or two showed up to court.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
Well, I'm at the gathering phase right now. So the more I can get, the more I can, put into the insights for the investigation.
Yeah, I mean, it's public record. If you'd like to, whatever I gave to the county
Mm-hmm.
and the sheriff's department, I probably have copies, and it would have people's names and numbers. It's public record. It might save you a few steps.
Okay.
It would be up to you if you wanted to contact them.
All right. If you and I'm happy to look that up. I don't I'm still I'm at the beginning phase of this, but I'm also traipsing into the other part of the investigation. If you happen to stumble upon that file, you'll get an email from me today anyway. Just reply to that with whatever you got. I'm happy to include my phone number in there as well. So if you can connect me with any of the victims who are interested in, getting their story out there, maybe I find. I mean, every time I call somebody, I find out something new and kind of mind-boggling about his efforts. So.
Oh yeah. I think I had to enclose a phone number and full name on any of the victims.
Yeah.
Since I do not remember. I don't remember the sheriff's department or anybody telling me you can't share this with anybody else because it's public record.
Well, a lot of it's redacted. I don't know what I'll find on the files when I look, but a lot of it, they do cut out personal contact info. Yeah.
Well, I mean, all it would take is, they didn't ask me not to do anything. I mean, the guy was a dirty scoundrel, gave our company a black eye. And I was feeling kind of depressed. I think he didn't get enough punishment.
Mm-hmm.
I think he started crying in the court and then had a temper tantrum with his, free legal, defense there.
You're saying he was the one who cried in court?
Yeah, he had a temper tantrum. You see his eyes got all wet.
Huh.
Man, he got off easy. I remember talking to the lawyers on the prosecution. They're saying it's possible he could get 30 years or somewhere around there. And he got 10 years. He got off easy.
Yeah.
I don't know if you even get time off for good behavior anymore. I don't know if that. I think that still works. I think he could probably do 80% of that. Be out 8 years.
Yeah. I think it is something like that actually in Florida.
Kind of sucks that he got all these people and left them. I mean, like you say, that took somebody's whole kitchen. The lady had to wash dishes in her bathtub.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, and that's just
I
one of.
I want to go into my bank account and get her some cabinets.
Right, and you should hear these people. They're the sweetest, nicest people in the world, and like you said, fixed income. There was a disabled veteran in there. There's people that can't afford this stuff.
I know, man.
When I looked up his background check, he's since 1997. He and I are actually the same age. I think we're about 6 months apart. We both graduated high school the same year, 1997, and that was his first time. He actually has a court record from 97 as a defendant. And he has, and I'm not kidding you, 32 times he's been a defendant between now and 97.
What? No way.
Yeah, he was a career con. I think the judge looked at that and said, "You're not getting 2 years for this. You're getting 10 or whatever she gave him, and then 25 years to pay him back because we're done."
Yeah, yeah. And the minute he misses the payment, from what we understand, he'll be right back in there.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think I heard from another one of the victims that she laid it out. She was like, I will put the strictest of concerns here. I probably won't be the judge at that time, but if you're, whoever looks back on this case, you mess up once, and then you're going to pay for it. So.
That's right. So if he's got 20 years probation plus another 5, if he screws up in any of it, he'll just go ahead and do the other 20, and then the 5.
Right.
But I mean, how despicable to do that to people, to anybody.
Yeah.
He's not Robin Hood, that's for sure.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and the worst part, as you kind of mentioned, is that he didn't even do anything with the money. He just smoked it.
Yeah, man, that's it. He's a dope fiend of sort.
Yeah.
That doesn't make it better. It's not an excuse. I think they gave him some leeway because of that. Really, that's sucked, but because it was part of it was drug addiction. So that's a common thing. Oh, if it's drug addiction, you won't get punished as much. Okay. Wow.
It's a disease, don't you know? Yeah,
that's right. It's a disease. That's probably why you got probation. 25 years of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is what it is. Hey man, so I'll dig up some stuff. I stay pretty busy here, but you've got my email. Send me an email, and I'll dig up what I can and send it to you.
I'll do that. Thanks again, sir. I appreciate it. Have yourself a good afternoon.
Hey man, thank you.
Okay.
Enjoy talking with you.
Yeah, you too. Right, bye. All right, so that was Roy. He's the manager of the car bazaar. I was a little bit surprised to find out the extent of that. And every time I talk to somebody since having interacted with Angela Bott, Robert Stoll's wife, I find out something even more kind of conniving. I'm really still on the fence about whether or not she was involved. Right? Every time somebody tells me she's an intelligent lady, I'm thinking, all right, she doesn't pretend to be an intelligent lady. She doesn't write with the $5 words and everything on her Facebook messages to me. Was she in on this, or is she just a person that love blinds her and gives her those rose-colored glasses? I don't know. We'll find out soon enough when I speak to her, or maybe we won't find out, but we will certainly have more insights on that. Thanks to Roy. I'm going to go ahead and include something in here that I was impressed again by the type of person that comes out of this. I may be getting the best of the personalities when I call these people that they're open, they're willing to talk, they're willing to sort of prop up their side. All of that may be true, but every time I talk to somebody that was a good enough person that they took a chance on him, either in his business or giving him a job, he still turned around and nailed them. That's my takeaway from this conversation. Thanks for listening. See you next time. That's all for this episode. Thanks so much for joining us. And remember, next Tuesday we'll launch right into season 2, which I'm currently calling Mad Michael's Millions. This has been a production of Legally Insane Films, LLC. All rights are reserved. Go legally into the night, my friends, but don't go insane.